Hey you guys, so I pulled this comment from a recent interview I posted on our YouTube channel, and I just wanted to speak to it for those of you who are using Naltrexone following the Sinclair Method to cut down on drinking. So they say, I've been on Naltrexone for 1.5 months. When I drink, I keep drinking till I get quite sleepy or pass out. The medication hasn't changed this behavior, even though I take it 1 hour before I start drinking. Is this normal? Please help. I wanted to speak to this because this is such a common question or comment that I see across all of our social channels, where essentially someone has started on naltrexone, they're a few weeks or a few months in, and they're not seeing major changes, and they start to panic, and they're wondering, is this medication even working? And I just wanted to briefly highlight this aspect of their comment where they say, the medication hasn't changed this behavior, even though I take it 1 hour before I start drinking. Is this normal? And the reason I wanted to highlight that aspect of their comment is because I see this as a common challenge that a lot of us, including me, go through when we start on naltrexone. And that challenge is really when we begin to realize what naltrexone is going to do to help us cut back on drinking and what it is that we have to do to change our habits and behaviors and coping skills around alcohol. And what's great about the Sinclair Method is that these lifestyle changes that are required to accompany alongside the medication are things that can be done gradually over time. But I think where a lot of us get stuck is that maybe we don't realize, what the medication is supposed to do and what it is that we're supposed to do. Just as an example for me personally, I remember feeling surprised a few months into naltrexone because I noticed that because of the medication and how it was working, my craving for alcohol was reducing and I didn't want to drink as much. But what happened is I saw myself drinking anyway, and drinking out of habit to cope with a stressful day, for example, or social anxiety, or just because I was bored. And so the medication was helping to really reduce my craving and desire for alcohol, but it was not helping me to find other ways to cope or create new habits and hobbies in life. I actually recently posted this graphic to our Instagram, which really highlights what it is that naltrexone is going to help us with and what it is that it won't help us with. So for example, it's going to help us to gradually remove our alcohol cravings. It's going to help to gradually reduce your motivation to drink, help you have more control over alcohol when you're drinking, and also help give you an off switch when you drink, and ultimately in the long term help you prevent binge drinking. But what naltrexone is not going to do is it's not going to help you create new, healthier coping tools and habits. It's not going to help you discover different ways to cope. It's not going to help you change your unhelpful drinking habits that you're doing. It's not going to help you to find greater meaning and purpose in your life outside of your relationship with alcohol. And it's also not going to help you change your unhelpful beliefs that you have around alcohol. For example, one of mine was, I need a bottle of wine at the end of a stressful day. That was a very ingrained yet unconscious belief that I had that caused me to keep running to a bottle of wine anytime I was stressed. But the longer I was on the medication, I began to realize, I don't want to be somebody who needs to run to wine to cope every time I'm stressed. I want to have healthier coping skills so that I'm not relying on alcohol so much. And thanks to naltrexone, it made it so much easier for me to gradually discover other healthier coping skills simply because I wasn't craving alcohol as much. I wasn't craving a drink. Before this treatment, when I tried to cope in healthier ways, I would do an activity like go for a walk or take a bath or get a massage. But the entire time I would just be thinking about drinking, oh man, I just want to drink right now. I wish I could drink right now, because my brain was very much still hijacked by the addiction and really wanted to drink. But where naltrexone was really powerful is that over time, it really gradually removed my craving and desire to drink, so that even though I was in the habit of coping with alcohol, I could actually consciously decide to go do another coping skill, whatever it might be. Again, taking a walk, taking a bath, whatever. And I wouldn't be craving the alcohol. Yes, it was still difficult because I had to create a new habit and do something new and different. So there was some aspect of challenge around it, but it wasn't because I was wishing I could drink and just telling myself that I couldn't drink. So this is another common graphic that I share with people, which helps to just put a visual into what success looks like on the Sinclair method. As you'll see, I've got up here that taking naltrexone and following the protocol correctly, that's half the battle. It's a crucial 50%. If you don't do that, nothing else will work, but it's not the whole picture. The rest of it, generally speaking, is changing habits, changing coping skills, and seeking greater fulfillment in life. For many of us, we spend many hours every single week drinking, thinking about drinking, recovering from drinking. And so as we get started on naltrexone, that's a lot of time to fill. And we've got to discover or rediscover who we are with this different relationship with alcohol. And what's beautiful about the Sinclair method is that this can be done gradually over time. And the more you make these small changes month after month, the more results that you will see. But consistency is super important to success with this, like with anything in life. One final graphic that I like to share with people is this one right here, where it really shows, again, what naltrexone is doing and what it is that we're supposed to do. So up here, naltrexone works to heal alcohol use disorder neurologically. So that's your thoughts, your craving for alcohol, the mental preoccupation. Naltrexone is going to work gradually to reduce that and ultimately eliminate it over time if you follow the protocol correctly. But what naltrexone is not going to do is it's not going to change your beliefs about alcohol. It's not going to change your identity. For example, if you identify as a wine lover or a wine connoisseur or somebody who always drinks on vacation, things like that. And it's not going to change your emotions. So if you are feeling depressed or stressed or bored or whatever, and you're used to reaching for alcohol with those tough emotions, those emotions aren't going anywhere. And so when we start on naltrexone, those uncomfortable emotions will still be there. And gradually over time, we've got to find other ways to cope and deal with these emotions. Ultimately, this is why we've created our private online program at Thrive, really in order to support people through naltrexone and the Sinclair method with the other 50% of it. Your doctor's helping you with the medication component of it and doing that protocol correctly. But once you've mastered that, it's like, okay, what's next? And that's exactly what we help you with in our program to really guide you and encourage you as you're making these small, gradual lifestyle changes over time. As we always say, this method really needs time to work. When people join our program, we typically tell them to give it a year. Some people will get there more quickly, others it will take longer. I actually just wanted to share one more graphic that relates to how long this treatment takes to work. This is from a poll I did a little while ago where I asked people, how long did it take you to reach extinction on this method? In other words, regained control over alcohol, whether they were still drinking or they went alcohol free. As you can see, the majority of people, 40% of them, it took them 6 to 12 months. And then the other largest group was more than 2 years, where 27% took more than 2 years. So this can give you an idea of an average time frame of how long this treatment takes to work. 3 months is the fastest I have seen it work, where someone gets to a place of total regained control over alcohol through this treatment, but that's more rare. I would say the average time frame is about 1 year. I truly hope this information was helpful. If we can help you, please do reach out. The link in my profile has more information, or head over to our website, thrivealcoholrecovery.com.